One of the rarest creatures in the world, the giant panda, often known as the panda, dwells high in dense bamboo forests in the foggy, rainy highlands of southwest China. These black and white bears are extremely rare, about 1,500 remain in the wild. Almost exclusively bamboo shoots and leaves are consumed by pandas. They occasionally consume fish, other types of plants, or small animals, but bamboo makes up the majority of their meals. Pandas spend roughly 12 hours a day eating, which they do quickly and in large quantities. They barely digest roughly a fifth of what they eat, which is the cause. Bamboo is not extremely nutrient-dense overall. They eat quickly because they must consume a large amount of food, up to 15% of their body weight, in 12 hours to be healthy. The molars of pandas are relatively flat and wide. The animals can more easily smash the bamboo shoots, leaves, and stems they eat, thanks to the form of their teeth. They can consume bamboo that is 1.5 inches thick. They use their front paws, which have larger wrist bones that serve as thumbs for grasping, to grab the stems of the bamboo as they move it closer to their mouths. A panda must have access to 2 different types of bamboo where it resides in order to survive. The already tiny panda population is in danger due to a bamboo shortage. A female panda at maturity weighs 200 pounds. Pandas are excellent swimmers and can climb as high as 13,000 feet. Male pandas will perform handstands against trees to unwind sometimes. Due to their timid nature, pandas avoid populated areas. Pandas are thus confined to a relatively small region. In their domains, giant pandas create smell trails. The primary means of communication are smell markings. Giant pandas can identify other giant pandas by their scent, including whether they are male or female, how recently they left their mark, and, in the case of female giant pandas, if they are in a reproductive stage. Giant pandas use their tails to distribute fragrance after backing up to a tree and rubbing their scent glands on the tree to identify their position. To position their smell higher on the trunk, some giant pandas, particularly males, may back up until they are practically doing a handstand. The giant pandas typically reach breeding maturity between the ages of 4 and 8. Females only reproduce in the spring once a year. The female giant pandas only ovulate on 2 out of every 3 days of the year, which contributes to the species' poor reproductive rate. Giant pandas search for a partner in the wild throughout the reproductive season, using smell and cries. Breeding of giant pandas is significantly hampered by the habitat's fragmentation. The male giant pandas cannot approach the females when settlements, highways, and power lines obstruct their unrestricted mobility from one location to another. Elephants are ecosystem engineers who are essential to preserving the diverse ecosystems in the areas they coexist with other animals. Despite only being native to Africa and Asia, elephants have a profound cultural and symbolic significance throughout the world. The only distinction between rabbits and bunnies is the term we select. There is no difference in breeder species. In the order of lagomorphs, which also contains the pika, a tiny burrowing mammal that resembles a giant mouse and inhabits colder regions, are rabbits and hares. May run within a few minutes of birth. much like a guinea pig, and are born with their eyes open and hair covering their body. Rabbits, on the other hand, spend their first few days of life in a fur-lined nest and are born blind and naked. It is hardly unexpected that the rabbit has come to represent fertility in many cultures and faiths, given the abundance of tales about how prolifically they reproduce. As Christianity gained popularity, rabbits are incredibly tiny creatures that are simple to housebreak and train. A pet rabbit may be trained to respond to its name, sit on your lap, and do basic tricks, much like a dog. Happy bunnies engage in the adorable binky habit, which involves jumping into the air and spinning around. A male rabbit is referred to as a buck, a female as a doe, and a baby as a kit. A herd refers to a collection of sub-Saharan region. Savanna regions are the primary habitat for giraffes. They can reach leaves and shoots that are much higher up than other animals can because of their tremendous height. They specifically look for acacia trees. Because they assist in removing leaves from the trees, their long tongues are useful for feeding. A fully grown giraffe consumes more than 45 kilograms, 100 pounds, of leaves and twigs each day, while spending the most of the day eating. In comparison to the female, the male giraffe is both taller and heavier. Ossicones, or skin-covered knobs, are present on the tops of both sexes' heads. Male ossicones are hairless on top, whereas female ossicones are smaller and have a little tuft of fur on top. Males fight by swinging their necks at each other in a display of power known as necking, and these knobs are utilized to protect the skull during this action. The lateral line, a unique row of sensory scales along a fish's body, is used by fish to sense movement in the water. Low-frequency sound waves that vibrate across the water are detected by these sensory scales. Because of their exceptional perceptive abilities, salmon are regarded as one of nature's greatest navigators. Salmon return to the river where they were born to spawn, and in rare cases, even to the same riverbed. Magnetic fields and their acute senses serve as their guides. It is thought that salmon can identify pheromones particular to their home stream. Fish species interact and develop interactions with one another. For instance, several fish species serve as cleaners for larger fish. Both the customers and the cleaners profit from the parasites. A family group-based chimpanzee community is where they call home. These family groups typically consist of 6 to 10 people. A complete chimp community, made up of many family groups, can occasionally number up to 100 individuals. The leader of the group can be any adult male chimpanzee, however in some units the position is shared by multiple males. Within their tribe, chimpanzees communicate by using body language, facial expressions, hand clapping, grooming, and kissing. Males often remain in the community where they were born, but when they reach adulthood, females move to other communities. Snakes are reptiles, yet you can tell they don't have legs. Not every legless reptile, nevertheless, is recognized as a snake. A snake's head and tail, which extend the whole length of its body, appear to be its sole parts. The reticulated python, the largest snake in the world, is over 20 feet long, although other snakes are as little as 4.1 inches, like the Barbados thread snake. Although these reptiles have human-like skin behind their scales, they are coated with scales. Some snakes have scales that are smooth, whereas others have keeled scales with a ridge in the middle. There is barely a hue that you won't see, however the markings vary depending on the species. The design will assist distinguish the hazards from non-threatening creatures, while the color frequently indicates how venomous the snake is. Every hue of the rainbow, including red, green, yellow, blue, and black, may be found in snakes. Despite the fact that poisonous snakes often have a triangular head, a high concentration of color indicates that it is more hazardous.